whom many would later call Cinderella. Her mother was kind, but very ill. One quiet evening, the mother took her daughter's hand and whispered with sorrow, "Be devout and good, my child. Kindness and patience will guard you all your life." The girl nodded, with tears shining in her eyes. Soon after, her mother passed away, and the girl's heart felt like an empty room echoing with memories. Time went by. Her father, unable to bear his loneliness, married again. The new wife was proud and cold, and she brought 2 daughters with sharp eyes and sharper tongues. Aschenputtel remained gentle and soft-spoken. The stepmother ordered, with a hard voice, "Cinderella, clean the hearth, carry the water, sweep the floors, cook the meals." By night's end, the girl would be dusted with ashes and dozing by the fireplace, thus the name Cinderella. One day the father set out for the market. The stepsisters demanded, with greed. "Bring us silks and pearls," Cinderella said, softly and with love. "Father, on your way home, please bring me the first branch that knocks your hat from your head." On the road back, a small hazel branch brushed the man's hat to the ground, and he brought that branch to his daughter. Cinderella planted it lovingly on her mother's grave and watered it every day with quiet tears. Soon it grew into a small hazel tree, and upon its branches perched a white dove. Whenever Cinderella prayed beneath the tree, the dove heard her wish and let gifts fall gently from the boughs. Years turned like pages. Cinderella worked with patience and hope. The stepmother and stepsisters mocked her daily. Cinderella felt the sting, yet did not break. She kept a small, steady courage in her heart, and even managed a fragile smile. One morning, trumpets sounded through the land. A royal festival would be held at the palace for 3 nights, so that the prince might choose his bride. The stepmother fluttered about in excitement, pinning hair and polishing jewels. Cinderella asked with shy hope, "May I go as well?" The stepmother laughed with scorn. "You? In rags and ashes? First, pick these lentils out of the ashes. Every single one." And she flung a pot of lentils into the hearth. Cinderella opened the window, her breath trembling. "Dear birds," she called in a soft voice, "please come and help me." In a whir of wings, doves and swallows and little sparrows flew in and lined up along the floor. They sang, bright and quick, "The good into the pot, the bad into the crop. The good into the pot, the bad into the crop." Beaks flashed and tiny feet pattered. They separated every grain. Soon the pot was full. Cinderella smiled with relief. "It is done," she said. The stepmother frowned. "Not enough. Another pot." Cinderella called the birds again, and they sang the same lively rhyme as they worked. The good into the pot, the bad into the crop. When the second pot was full, the stepmother snapped, cold as ice, "Even so, you shall not give me chanson." And she closed the door in Cinderella's face. Heart sore but determined, Cinderella walked to the graveyard and knelt beneath the hazel tree. Folding her hands with reverence, she prayed, "Little tree, white bird, pure as my mother's heart, let a dress fall down for me." The white dove fluttered its wings tenderly. Down from the branches fell a gown worked with silver and gold, and a pair of small golden slippers. Cinderella dressed with gratitude. Her hair flowed like a river, and in her eyes hope glimmered. That night the palace was bright with candles. Music rose with joy in the golden hall. When Cinderella entered, everyone looked at her in wonder. No one knew who she was. The prince approached with respectful grace. "Will you dance with me?" he asked. Cinderella, shy and happy, said, "I will." They turned in harmony all evening. A quiet spark passed between their hearts. But Cinderella did not forget the hour. Before dawn she slipped away, afraid and breathless. The prince followed quickly. In the courtyard she lapped into a dovecote and hid. The prince told his father, and the dovecote was torn down in haste. But no one was inside. Cinderella had already reached home and now sat, weary and humble, by the hearth in her old dress, while the stepsisters chattered, with jealous excitement, about the mysterious lady at the ball. The next day, Cinderella went again to the little tree and bowed with gratitude. "Little tree, white bird, send me another dress, I pray." This time the branches let fall an even more splendid gown, glowing like moonlight, and delicate golden slippers. At the palace, the music swelled with delight. The prince saw her and lifted his hand with love. "You have returned," he said with joy. "Yes," she answered, smiling softly. They danced again. Their words were gentle, their glances full of hope. When the night grew thin, Cinderella fled. This time she climbed into a tall pear tree and hid among the leaves. The prince called for aid. The tree was cut down in anger, but again no one was there. By then, Cinderella was home, quiet and modest by the hearth. On the third day, Cinderella returned to the hazel tree with a heart beating fast, with sweet fear and deep love. "Little tree, white bird, grant me one last dress," she whispered. Then down fell the most radiant gown of all, as if stardust had been stitched into every fold, and a pair of golden slippers to match. When she entered the hall, all eyes turned. The prince danced with her tenderly. "Please, do not leave me," he said in a pleading voice. Cinderella smiled with sorrow. "I must." This time the prince had the palace steps smeared with pitch. As Cinderella ran, one golden slipper stuck to the stair. She pulled free, fearful, and disappeared into the night, leaving the slipper shining on the pitch-black step. The prince took the golden shoe into his hands and vowed, with firm resolve, "I will find the one whom this slipper fits." The next morning, the royal servants rode out under a solemn command. "The maiden whose foot fits this golden slipper shall be the prince's bride." They went from house to house. At Cinderella's home, the stepmother hurried her elder daughter forward. The foot would not go in. With a cruel whisper, the stepmother said, "Cut off your big toe," so the old story tells. The girl, with pain and fear, did as she was told, and the shoe went on by force. The prince set her upon his horse. But as they rode by the hazel tree, the white doves sang out, sorrowful and indignant, warning him, turn and peep, there's blood within the shoe. The shoe is far too small for her. Your true bride waits for you." The prince looked down and saw the shoe stained with blood. Shocked and heartsick, he turned back. Then the stepmother pushed the younger daughter forward. Again the foot did not fit. "Cut off your heel," hissed the stepmother, more merciless than before. The girl, trembling with dread, obeyed, and the shoe was forced on. The prince rode away with her, but the doves cried out more sternly this time. "Turn and peep, turn and peep. There's blood within the shoe. The shoe is far too small for her. Your true bride waits for you." The prince saw the blood and felt hot anger mixed with grief. He returned again. "Is there no other maiden in this house?" he asked, suspicious now. The stepmother said, cold as winter, "Only a little kitchen girl covered in ashes." "Call her," said the prince with quiet determination. Cinderella came, calm and hopeful. She took the golden slipper gently and bowed. When she slid her foot inside, it cradled her like a soft cloud. It fit perfectly. The prince's face lit with joy and wonder. Cinderella fetched the matching golden slipper she had kept safe in a small box beneath the eaves. The pair gleamed together like twin suns. At that moment, the white doves beat their wings and sang, cheerful yet full of justice, "No blood within the shoe. The foot is neat and true. Behold the rightful bride. She rides away with you." The royal carriage arrived. The prince, with love and reverence, helped Cinderella inside. On the wedding day, the whole land rejoiced. The stepsisters came as well, their eyes green with envy and dark with regret. And as the old tale tells, the white birds came down to give them their due, so that from that day onward they could no longer cast a cruel gaze upon anyone. Cinderella watched with quiet composure and whispered in her heart, "Cruelty brings pain. Kindness opens a path." Time flowed like a clear stream. Cinderella and the prince lived with tenderness and justice. Each morning she paused beneath the hazel tree in gratitude, listening for the soft flutter of the white dove. Sometimes with sadness, sometimes with joy, she murmured, "Kindness and patience, my mother's words." And the story went on, like a gentle light glowing in many hearts. Now close your eyes for a moment. Think of the wide sky. Take a deep breath. One day, you too will be a light for someone. One day, you will choose to forgive. One day, you will grow goodness where it is needed. For a true heart finds its time and its answer. Our tale rests here, softly. Before we go, a quick question. If you stood beneath the hazel tree tonight, what would you ask the white dove to let fall? Courage, forgiveness, or something else? Tell me in the comments. If you want more videos like Cinderella, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching.